When making chicken broth, try freezing a portion of it in small ice cube trays. Later, when frying meatballs on a skillet or open fire, insert a broth cube into the center. This will make the meatballs much juicier. A frozen chicken broth cube has a double effect. The meatballs not only become juicier but also much tastier. To cut cheese into cubes for salad, cut the packaging in half lengthwise. Cut off a corner of the packaging, allowing air to enter, and the packaging will easily separate from the cheese. And to quickly cut it into cubes, simply press it through a square grater. Combine all the necessary ingredients and the Greek salad is ready. Place a wide knife or cleaver on a pot. Moisten its surface with water. On top, place a couple of tablespoons of dumpling dough. Use another blunt knife to push the dough into the pot. Long dumplings in the form of noodles are obtained. Dry coffee grounds and fill a small container with them. Compact it and place cloves buds on top. In the center of the coffee grounds, place a small cake candle and light it. This is an excellent remedy against mosquitoes and flies in the summer. If you haven't used up the contents of a can with a key, it is very easy to close it. Press down on the lid from above, but in such a way that it doesn't break off, and turn the key towards the edge. Tuck it under the rim. Now the lid stays perfectly closed. You can open a can without a can opener. You will need a large knife with a heel like this. Use it to make cross-shaped cuts in the can. Lift the corners up and, pressing with the flat side of the knife, finally bend them to the sides. Now you can remove the contents of the can through the large opening. To sharpen a knife without any special tools, apply a little toothpaste on both sides of the blade. Turn a ceramic cup upside down and moisten the surface with water. Sharpen the knife by turning one side of the blade against the rim of the cup, then the other side. Hot milk for coffee can be frothed using a regular small metal sieve. The froth can be added to the coffee. Place strawberries in a container with water. Add a teaspoon of baking soda and leave for 5 minutes. Baking soda helps remove dirt, traces of pesticides, and any unwanted insects if there are any. A dry linen towel helps preserve a harvest of green onions much longer. The main thing is to wrap the onions in a completely dry towel and not wash them beforehand. Fold a piece of paper towel or napkin and wrap the bunch of onions with a paper strip. Now it is much more compact and cutting the onions becomes much easier. To easily peel an onion, pour hot water over it for a couple minutes. This way the skin comes off much easier. And if you need to slice the onion into rings for any dish, it is also much easier to separate the rings after these manipulations. To make stuffed peppers, make a cut in the top of the pepper, removing the seeds inside. Then make a long vertical cut from the center of the first cut downwards. Remove the seeds and membranes. Fill the pepper completely from top to bottom with any desired filling. In a skillet with a small amount of oil, place the stuffed pepper. Flatten it and leave for a couple of minutes. Once the bottom of the filling has lightened, flip it over flat, however it turns out. When the filling is completely lightened, break it into small pieces. This way you don't have to constantly stir the filling. Now salt the filling and add spices such as black pepper, dried onion, dried garlic, paprika, and dried basil. Add finely diced celery stalks and carrots. Add crushed tomatoes and water. Mix everything together. Reduce the heat to low. Cover the skillet with a lid. Simmer the meat cells for about 30 minutes. When choosing bananas at the store, pay attention to whether they have a long or short stem. Choose those with a short stem. Firstly, these bananas will be tastier and sweeter, and secondly, they will store much better. In boiling water, add a tablespoon of salt and immerse the lasagna sheets. Spread the cooked sheets on a dish or tray so that they do not touch each other. Also, prepare the sauce at the same time. Pour flour onto a skillet. On medium heat, constantly stirring, cook the flour until golden brown and a light nutty aroma. It is very easy to check it if the flour is ready. Take a little flour between 2 fingers and rub it. If the flour crumbles like sand, then it's ready. Add ground nutmeg and butter to the flour in the skillet. It starts to melt. Quickly mix it with flour, rubbing it to avoid lumps. Now gradually pour very hot milk into the flour mixture. Stir the sauce constantly. It becomes very smooth and homogeneous. There will be no lumps and the perfect bechamel sauce is ready. Place a lasagna sheet on a baking sheet greased with oil. In the center, spread a little bechamel sauce. Place a second lasagna sheet diagonally on top. Also spread sauce in the center and place a portion of meat filling on top, followed by a few slices of mozzarella cheese. Lift the free edges of the lasagna to form a square portion. Brush the top with another spoonful of bechamel sauce and sprinkle with finely grated hard cheese. Do not pour out the water in which lasagna sheets were cooked. Take about 1 cup and pour it onto the baking sheet. This way, during the cooking process, the lasagna sheets will soak even better, becoming very soft and tender. Bake the lasagna in a preheated oven at 190 degrees Celsius for 25–30 minutes. This is how you get a wonderful individual portion of lasagna. To debone chicken breast without cutting it in half, make a neat incision along the rib bones. Then the breast can easily be separated from the bone with your hands. Repeat the same steps on the other side. Then use a knife to remove the meat from the cartilage. This way you will have a whole chicken breast without any tears or cuts. Cut small circles out of thin lavash bread for appetizers. Fold each piece in half and toast it in a toaster until golden brown. Fold a sheet of baking paper in half and fold it like an accordion. Place it on a plate, slightly spreading it apart. This improvised stand will allow the appetizers to stand vertically without falling. If you need to dice something very finely, such as zucchini, use a julienne slicer. Slice the zucchini into thin stripes like matchsticks, then cut those strips into small cubes. A great way to use up leftover rice is by making rice patties. Add finely diced zucchini, carrots, and celery stalks to the cooked rice. Add spices such as black pepper, dried garlic, a little ground coriander, and a pinch of salt. Mix everything together, breaking up any clumps of rice. Add an egg and mix again. Let it sit for 10 minutes. Then spread the mixture onto a baking sheet lined with a parchment paper or a cotton board. Flatten it to a thickness of about 2 cm and compact it well. Use a cookie cutter or glass to cut out individual patties. Transfer them to a baking sheet lined with a parchment paper. Brush the tops with a little melted butter and sprinkle with sesame seeds. Bake in a preheated oven at 190 degrees Celsius for about 25 minutes. This will result in soft golden brown and very aromatic rice and vegetable patties. When you've finished a jar of jam, there is always a little bit left on the sides and bottom. Add a little bit of mild mustard, apple or wine vinegar, and a pinch of salt to the jar. Close the lid tightly and shake well. This makes a great dressing for a vegetable salad.